Hello lovelies, today I thought it'd be really fun to sort of Christmasify, sort of like do like a holiday twist on popular book covers and book titles. And I'm not that great at Photoshop, so a lot of it is sort of me just faking it till I make it somewhat decent and presentable. But I had a lot of fun trying to come up with Christmas titles for these books and just making these really funny covers and stuff. And the first one that I'm going to sort of do a holiday remix of is Turtles All the Way Down. I'm sure you have all heard it. It's John Green's new book. But have you heard of the equally great book, Turtledoves All the Way Down? And basically, Turtledoves All the Way Down is kind of from the 12 Days of Christmas song with like two turtle doves. Well, basically, it's sort of like the 12 days leading up to Christmas for this teenage girl. And basically, on the second day, things start going downhill with everything, and then we see throughout the book if in those next 10 days to Christmas can things be mended and be better. And it's just really fun to see the references from the 12 Days of Christmas song all throughout the book. It's really fun when you get to one, you're like, oh my gosh, like a pear tree, yeah. And yeah, I hope you like the cover. Like, it has like candy cane now. And it's kind of hard to find like matching font that they use, but I tried my best. And I think this one is okay. I think I did an okay job with this cover. The next one is actually my current read, which is When Dimple Met Rishi. And basically, it is now when Rudolph met Dasher. I hope you like the cover. And basically, it's about this girl who is in this school musical, and she's cast as Rudolph, and she meets the guy who is playing Dasher, and they kind of have a connection. But what I really like about this book is that, like, in the book, like, Rudolph plays a lot more into the story and theme of the book than you would think. It's more than just the musical and the part that the girl is playing, because it kind of goes into, like, what are our own metaphorical red noses, you know? Are we ourselves not letting us play in our own reindeer games? Or is it more external, like what actually happened to Rudolph, and like these unique things, how can we embrace them? And you know, like, it's what makes us different and everything. And it's just about celebrating our differences, and I think that's just a really great sort of moral to this book. And you might have heard of Milk and Honey, a poetry book, but have you heard of Milk and Cookies? And what I really like about this poetry book is that at the bottom of the page, all the poems can kind of go with a Christmas song, like Jingle Bells. Like, you can kind of sing the poem to that melody, and I think that's really clever and fun. Then there is Red Queen, but now it's Red and Green Queen, and it's basically about the North Pole Elves and the South Pole Elves. And of course, you probably don't really hear about South Pole Elves, because, you know, the North Pole Elves get all the attention. And she is a South Pole Elf. And she basically tries to show that the South Pole Elves are just as good as the North Pole Elves by going on this adventure to find this mythical, like, elf hat. And if you find this hat, like, it's said that you kind of become, like, a ruler to the elf, sort of like you get like boosted up elf powers, and obviously with those powers comes more influence and stuff, and she hopes if she finds this magical hat, like she can really show that South Pole elves are just as good. Sounds really interesting, right? An elf adventure. And last but not least, when I came up with this one, I was like, oh no, I probably shouldn't do this. But like, it's sort of like a mashup of two books. But I am really glad how the cover turned out, but like, the title, it's interesting. Okay, enough talking about it. Here it is. Murder on the Polar Express. And basically, this one kind of revisits the kids from the Polar Express, but now they're like all grown up, and some have like lost like the spirit of Christmas and stuff. So they kind of go on the Polar Express again to try and like recapture that, and like they just get this mysterious like invitation, like, hey, you know, like come back to the Polar Express, like just a little Polar Express ticket. But when they get there, a murder happens, and they have to try and figure out who the murderer is and stuff before they get to the North Pole, and maybe other people get murdered. So yeah, a little bit different than the original Polar Express. But they also have to figure out, like, is this really the Polar Express? Was this just a ruse for like the murderer to kill, you know? And like, why would they want to kill them, you know? And is there even a murderer? Like, bunch of mysteries in this mystery. I hope you enjoyed all my Christmasifying of book titles and book covers. Let me know which ones you enjoyed the most, and which ones actually sounded good and would actually read if they were actually written. Oh, and I hope you like my little tree. It's very wintry, and I decorated it myself. And I hope you all have a lovely Christmas and happy holidays. Bye!